Hey, in this video, we're going to talk about a major mistake that I see people who flip real estate make time and time again that potentially ends up getting them into a lawsuit and how you can avoid it. All right, let's get started. So here's why I wanted to create this video. I got a call from a client the other day that is now involved in a lawsuit. And what's happening is this client sold a piece of property. So she went in, she rehabbed the property, she flipped the property, and the sellers that bought the property happened to be two attorneys. So actually, that's the first mistake she made right there. If you're ever selling property or even renting property, never rent or sell to an attorney. Worse yet, choose to sell to a couple where both of them are attorneys, because it's probably going to get you involved in a lawsuit if they're looking for a way to get out of the deal or pull more money back because they felt like maybe they overpaid. Well, this actually happened in this scenario where she had sold a property to two attorneys, and they've now come back against her saying that there were certain things that were not disclosed, and they're asking for $65,000 back, or they're going to sue. Now, if you had been this person in this situation and were flipping this property and you made this mistake that I'm about to show you, then you would be involved in a lawsuit right now wondering, what am I going to do? What's going to happen to all my personal assets? And so the mistake that I see people make when it comes to flipping real estate many times is that when it comes to their first deal, they do it in their own name. So they flip the property in their own name, and then when the sellers later, or the buyers, later decide they're going to sue someone because they're not happy with their purchase, probably because the market has gone down, who are they going to sue? They're going to sue the seller of that property, which happens to be you. Now, the strategy that I see some people make to solve this issue is that they don't sell the property in their own name. Rather, they set up a limited liability company as follows. So this is a pretty common technique. It's taught by many people who instruct individuals on how to flip real estate. They say, go out there, set up an LLC. You can flip through your limited liability company. You get the protections of the LLC. Now, that information is accurate, but it's really not relevant to how flipping works if you're a real estate investor. Because if you're into flipping, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be selling a property like this. So we sold the property to these sellers. And then we're going to go out and we're going to buy another property to flip. Well, if these sellers purchase that property from this LLC, who are they going to sue? They're going to bring a claim against the LLC and not against you as an individual. You might be thinking, well, great. Well, Clint, that's where I want them to sue. I want them to sue the LLC. That's fine, but the problem is this. You have another deal now that you're working on. So when they're suing, they're going to go after any assets of that limited liability company. So they're going to have access to this deal, and they're going to tie it up, and it's going to screw it up for you, and they're going to force you to settle. So how do we solve the problem? Well, whenever you're selling or you're flipping property, the best solution, in my opinion, is to do this. Set up the LLC. Have that LLC owned by another business entity. Typically, this entity would be an LLC or a traditional corporation down here, like this, of which you own and control. And this LLC would be owned 100% by this, well, we're to call it our flipping entity right here. So when we flip the property out of this limited liability company, we sell it to these sellers, we do not reuse that LLC. We leave it alone. On our next deal, we'll create a second LLC over here, held the same way, to take our next deal down. Now, this is exactly what my client that we've been working with for years did. Followed this advice. She set up a second LLC for her next flip. And this flip, what happened was, these sellers are suing an LLC right now that has no assets. So they could get a judgment against the LLC, and it won't do them any good. It won't impact her other deals that are taking place because there's no assets for them to recover against. In fact, as I explained to my client, what you can do is bankrupt out this LLC or even shut it down before the lawsuit happens, and it just really destroys those buyers' case against the company. Many times these types of cases are just shakedown lawsuits, but there's something you have to deal with. So your best defense is to ensure that they do not have purchase power. That is, some type of asset that they can attach through a prejudgment writ or something like that, which then can force you into a settlement posture. So you're flipping real estate. Be sure you don't make that mistake of flipping in your own name or flipping in your business entity like this, that can give rise to a potential buyer lawsuit against the assets you currently have held inside of that business entity. Separate everything out with limited liability companies. If you're a flipper and you want to learn more and you'd like to set up a strategy session with us, check the show notes. I have a link in there where you can set up a free strategy session with one of our strategists here at Anderson, and we can walk you through how to set up this type of structure the right way to ensure that not only you're protecting your assets, but you're also minimizing your taxes. Take care.